All right. Hello, happy Tuesday. This is our Q&A call for Metabolism Revival. So at the beginning, or not at the beginning, no, let me see here. On 1 minute. Here we go. Okay. If you are in the call live, you can always put questions in the chat, or there is no Q&A on this one. So just use the chat box if you have questions while I'm talking. I'm happy to answer anything during the call as well. I think I only have a couple questions that came in for today's call. So um, every Tuesday, 12 o'clock to 12:30 will be our Metabolism Revival Q&A. Metabolism Revival, you have access to it for a full 5 weeks. After that, if you want more time, we just do a monthly fee to stay in the program. And sometimes, depending on where I am with enrollments, I'm like between groups. And so there's not a lot of people in there. And sometimes there's a lot of people in there. So it just kind of ebbs and flows too. So if you're in Metabolism Revival because you wanted more time with it, sometimes there's not an actual Q&A because there's just not any questions that come in based on where enrollments are. So, but that being said, we just did some enrollments this past week. So we have some new people in the group. So let's get started. Let me get my screen a little bit bigger here. There we go. Okay. So Melissa asked, she drinks Ancient Nutrition bone broth protein every morning. Is collagen protein actual protein, or do I need to change to a different brand? So the bone broth protein is not collagen protein, unless I'm misunderstanding that. Let me actually look at it. Bone broth is different than collagen, typically. So what I'm seeing from that brand is that it's just the bone broth protein. So I wouldn't consider that to be collagen. But that being said, you could count bone broth protein as your protein. Because bone broth protein is a full amino acid profile, and that's where it gets confusing because collagen is not a full amino acid profile. And so I tend to look at the information of collagen and then help you make an informed decision from there because there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to counting collagen towards your protein. So protein, we prefer it to be a full amino acid profile because your body needs all amino acids to convert that protein into a usable source of protein. Now, that being said, when you're tracking on MyFitnessPal, you're tracking all of your foods, and there's a lot of foods you're eating that aren't complete proteins, right? So broccoli has a protein source in it, but it's not a complete protein. Beans have protein in them, but it's not a complete protein, yet we still track them and they still go towards your total protein count, right? So we want to remember that there's a lot of like nuances here when it comes to it. But that being said, if you're trying to decide, do I count this as my protein or don't I? If you're banking on your collagen protein when you're tracking it to get you to your protein goal, then I would say take it out until you can get to your protein goal not using collagen. And then collagen can just be an extra little boost in there if you want some extra protein, or you don't have to track it at all. Basically, I don't want you to use collagen as a crutch to get to your protein goal because you're not actually eating enough of protein from a full amino acid profile sources, if that makes sense. So you can have it, you can sure count it, but don't use it as a crutch to get to your protein sources. I want you to be able to get to your total protein amount kind of on your own without using collagen. Now, that being said, you don't have to go through your journal and be like, oh, but this food is counted as a protein, but it's not a full amino acid. Should I take it out? You don't have to get that nuanced, right? But there are collagens out there that are like 18 grams of protein, but that's 18 grams of not a full amino acid profile. So that's why I don't want you to use a crutch. A serving of broccoli is not giving you 18 grams of protein. So it's kind of, you want to compare the amounts there too. So bone broth protein, totally okay. You don't need to switch to a different brand because I'm assuming I don't think your bone broth protein is actually collagen unless I'm confused by the labels they have online. Okay, next question. I sleep so good at night. I do get up once for the bathroom, but when my alarm goes off at 6:15 to work out, I turn it off and fastly go back to sleep. 6:50 alarm to now get ready for work is difficult, but I get up because I know I have kids that I have to get out up and ready for work. I haven't worked out in a long time because I can't get up, and evening workouts don't work for me. I have to have supper made and have the kids and want to play with them. Yes, understandable. Very common problem for most of my clients. Um, so that being said, you sleep good at night. Here's the thing is that we think that because our alarm goes off in the morning, we should be ready to get out of bed. But here's the thing, we're not. We're never going to be. No matter how good we sleep at night, and especially this time of year, our mornings are like short, right? So the sun doesn't come out till like 7:30 right now. And so most of us can't stay in bed until the sun comes up. We have to get up when our alarm goes off. And if you're sleeping good at night, there's no reason that you can't still get up, allow it to feel uncomfortable. Know it's normal to want to stay in bed, but you still do it anyway, right? As long as you're getting out of bed and once you get up and move around, you feel fine, you feel energy, you kind of get that boost in the morning that you should, then there's no problem here, right? There's actually no problem with you laying in bed and wanting to stay in bed. That's a natural human response and human behavior. We as humans are always seeking safety, and we seek safety through comfort and things that feel really good. And our warm bed in the morning is comfort that feels really good. Of course, we're going to want to stay in it. So know that nothing has gone wrong here. The only thing that's gone wrong is that you're actually not creating any distance between you and the snooze button, right? It's so easy to hit that button and then go and lay right back down and go back to sleep. So I suggest moving your alarm either in a different room or across the room. So you have to actually physically get out of bed to turn that off. You want to create friction between you and that snooze button because otherwise it's just a natural human reaction to shut it off and to say, but it feels really nice here. I'm just going to stay here and close my eyes. I'll get up in a minute. And then you don't get up. And then the next alarm goes off and the next alarm goes off. And then you have to rush out of the bed in the morning and try to get everyone ready to go. And it's a fight or flight state. And that's how you're starting out your morning. That's a chronically stressed way to start out your morning. And then we know you're going to go through your day and you're going to be continued stress throughout the day because we all live in stressful lives. And so think about how you're waking up in the morning. That's a brutal, brutal way to wake up. If you could just get up out of bed and shut your alarm off, that's a much easier way to get out of that morning funk. And now you just go about your morning and you don't have to rush. And you'll also be able to get your workout in. Um, so that being said, move the easy thing here is you move your alarm clock to across the room or in a different room. I put mine in my bathroom. My bathroom is attached to my bedroom, so I do have to get up. But I keep it plugged in there. I also like it away from my head at night when I'm sleeping. So all of it, I think it's a win-win to be able to put your phone away from arm's reach when you're sleeping. Okay, there was another question in the group I wanted to touch on. Okay. Melissa also had a question on sending me supplements for gut health. She listened to my podcast about gut health testing and she wouldn't mind doing another one. Also, Melissa, you said you did a Dutch test a year ago, which showed H. pylori. A Dutch test wouldn't show H. pylori, just FYI. So I'm guessing you had a GI map test. Just wanting clarification there. So wondering if she needs to focus on macros or gut health, not knowing where to start. Thinking too much about this and my belly fat isn't leaving. I have an MLM gut health company for a few years and now started new gut health supplements with a new different online company. Okay. So here's the thing in Metabolism Revival, I don't do personalized protocols for supplementation or to review it simply because I take supplementation and lab testing very, very seriously. And so you have to be in mindfully well in order to be able to have lab tests with me and to be able to have supplements and have me review them. Because like I said, I take it very seriously. I want to know your full medical history. I want to know everything that's going on. I want to know why we're doing this. And I also want to know that I can get you a result based on the supplements and the labs. The Metabolism Revival is not the program for that because this is basically a course that teaches you how to boost your metabolism, how to create energy, and how to put your body into a safe place to be able to lose body fat. That's where you're going. And I teach it to you in a 4 week time, but the amount of time it actually takes to get those results, right? You, after the 4 weeks, will be continuing to implement these things in order to get that result. Um, so that being said, it's not the place for added supplements and doing labs. That would be something that we do in Mindfully Well. And that program is completely set up for that type of process so that you can get that desired result. Now, that being said, you had H. pylori in the past. It's always a good idea to retest, especially if your symptoms haven't improved. That tells us there's still an issue there, and that retesting would be a good idea for you. Um, and then also, I would, yes, recommend focusing on what I'm teaching you in Metabolism Revival versus trying to jump over and say my gut is the problem. What ends up happening is that, for one, Metabolism Revival is going to be the base of everything that you need to achieve those big results that you want, right? So we have to be doing these things at the bottom in Metabolism Revival, which is eating enough food, understanding your blood sugar stability with that as well. And then next week, we're going to learn about how to put muscle on your body and how to keep muscle on your body, because that's how you build a robust metabolism. And then we're going to move into circadian rhythm so that your body is sleeping and resting well and recovering well. And those are the bases of anything that you want to move to. Okay. That's the basis of building hormonal health. That's the basis of building gut health. It's the basis of losing weight and keeping body fat off. So it's the basis of everything you want. Okay. Focus on those things in this short time that you have with me so that you know what you're doing is working. When we try to go all in on 5 different things in 5 different buckets, now we're spreading ourselves too thin and we're not actually getting a result in any area. And so focus on what you're doing in Metabolism Revival. It's a short 4 or 5 weeks that you'll be with me, and you will, if you put your effort in it, you will feel better, right? You will see different results. You will feel different results. So it's don't try to create confusion out of all these different things. I love that you're interested in gut health, and that's something we can definitely touch on after Metabolism Revival, but not yet. You can continue the supplements you're doing. I don't think they're hurting you by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure that they're fine to take. But the other side of that is I want you to really focus on your core nutrition. Next week, we're going to learn about muscle. Then we're going to learn about sleep, rest, and recovery. Those are the basic things that you need here. And a lot of times it's very easy to say, my body fat hasn't budged, the scale hasn't budged, and we're like a week in. Your body needs to feel safe in order to lose weight. You'll hear me say this over and over and over again. Your body doesn't feel safe in a week. Your body will start to create energy within a week, sometimes 2 weeks. You will start to notice that you feel different. You will start to notice that you feel more alert. Your hunger and cravings are better. Your meal timing is better. So you have better sustained energy through the day. All of those things will improve quickly. But body fat is a different thing because your body has to feel safe in order to lose body fat. And there are many reasons why your body doesn't feel safe, right? Chronic stress, day in and day out, like all the things we're managing in a day as busy women in 2024. Also, our environment is much, you can also compare, I'm always comparing how we live right now to how our ancestors lived, because how we are today, our body, our DNA, how our body responds is because of our ancestors and how they lived. We have not evolved that far. And so we want to think about our environment now and how different it was from our ancestors. And so our body is trying to adjust to an environment that our actual DNA doesn't have information for yet. And so we have to take care of ourselves in different ways. We have to be very patient with our body. So our environment is different, right? So just what we're exposed to. Think about all the stuff we touch in a day, like all the plastics, all the stuff. Like, I drink out of a freaking plastic Starbucks thing every day. Like our lives are so different. So we have to remember that our bodies are trying to adjust to an environment that they're not entirely sure what everything is. And so safety from our environment and also from our food. Many of you have been chronically undereating or skipping meals or undereating and then overeating, so yo-yoing for years. right? And so, what does that tell your body? It tells your body that there's not enough food here. You don't know when the food is going to come. So, when the food does come, you need to take it and you need to store it because we don't know when she's going to eat again, right? Because there's not been any consistency in your eating patterns, both in quality and quantity and timing, right? Because we fast all morning, intentionally or unintentionally, and then we eat all of our calories later on in the day because now we're finally starving and we haven't been hearing our hunger cues until then. And so there's so many things that have been going on for so many years that we want to remember that this is a slow process and it's supposed to be a slow process, right? Our body actually doesn't love immediate change. It loves slow, consistent, lovable, um, compassionate actions that show your body slowly over time that you are safe here. And when your body finally perceives safety and it finally feels safe, that's when your fat starts to go down and you keep your body, your muscle mass as well, right? So it's easy to get frustrated and say the scale hasn't moved, my pants feel the same, or I know I haven't lost any body fat, remember, but this is a slow, loving process, and this is how you want to do it. This is how your body prefers that you do it as well. And then when you do it this way, you get to keep the fat loss off versus anything that happens quickly comes back quickly. And we don't want it back, right? We're not we're not losing it. When we lose things, we tend to find them. We're getting rid of them, right? We don't want this body fat back. We want it gone forever. Okay, I think that is the questions. I'm going to touch on another question I saw in here. Here's great feedback. You can also go into the group chat and go to Melissa also posted um, a meal of her breakfast, and I gave her some feedback on that so you can see where she's kind of gone wrong in this, not to point you out, Melissa, but um where her blood sugar is likely very unstable because of her breakfast. So even though she's got protein in there, even though she's got fat in there, even though she's got fiber in there, I want you to look at the sugar and I want you to look at the carbohydrates and then what she told me she was eating in there and see if you can find out before looking at my comment where she's gone wrong here. This is a really good learning opportunity. Um, and then there's usually questions on reverse dieting. So just for clarification there, if you know where you're eating, before you came into Metabolism Revival, or you did the 5 days of just logging and seeing where you're at with your intake, and it's under 1,800 calories, then I do recommend reverse dieting. So that just means you slowly add in food over time. You'll learn that in the reverse dieting module. But if you come in and you're already eating 1,800 calories or more, then you don't have to reverse diet. You can stay where you are and then adjust the macros based on the percentages that I give you. Um, and then you don't have to reverse diet. You can go right into adjusting those macros. And if you are above 1,800 calories, then you can go into a fat loss phase and actually cut down to 1,800 calories with those macro percentages. So the reverse dieting is only necessary if you're significantly under eating 1,800 calories. Um, that being said, if you're like, I don't want to do the tracking for 5 days, I just want to like jump in and have somebody tell me what to do, then just set your calories at 1,800 with those macro percentages in MyFitnessPal and just go with that. You'll know right away if it's not right for you. If it's not right, send me a message in our group chat and I'll help you navigate that. You would notice because you are feeling stuffed, you are feeling like kind of like heavy, and then you might gain weight too if it would be too quick. But a reverse diet, the magic of a reverse diet is that you slowly increase food methodically over time without gaining body fat. So that's the beauty of reverse dieting. All right. Well, I think that's all I have for questions. I'm going to give you two here that are here in the call a minute here to ask any questions in the chat. You can also unmute and turn your video on if you want to be on camera. Um, and if I don't see anything in the next minute, then I will just close the call and I will see y'all next week. Okay, not seeing anything. If you do have a question, obviously always put it in the group, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.